There we go.
It says we're streaming live to Facebook. I'm just waiting for confirmation from Facebook on the other window, so it won't be a sec. Guys, I'm about to introduce you to Chelsea, who I will say is a former client of mine, because she finished doing my 90-day VIP course. We're just figuring out, it was approximately 6 months ago, and she's still implementing the things. Business is going amazing. Life is incredibly busy for her. She is a mother of 2 young children. She's got 18 staff, contractors. She's very busy, very amazing, makes decisions quickly, is a person that trusts, and is very, very good at helping people. And you can't input that kind of thing into somebody as a personality. So she's obviously got the personality to be a coach. She runs a studio called Mummy Movement in Sydney, in the West. And she has various online programs and does a lot of marketing and a lot of talking, a lot of networking. And it's just a general phenomenal human being. So I'm hoping that you guys that are thinking of how to upgrade your business, when I met Chelsea, she wasn't sure how to structure creche versus get new clients, and was worried about the location that she was in and expanding. And I'll get her to tell you the story of what happened when we worked together, and then how life is now as well, because obviously apart from life's busy, but the business is going amazing. Chelsea, what can you tell everybody about yourself?
Well, I can't really beat that introduction, Kate. Thanks for that. So I have 2 young kids, and I started my business because going through that process of being pregnant and having a new baby, there wasn't much help in terms of exercise, what to do, what not to do during pregnancy and afterwards. So I decided to be that person and specialize in that sort of area and focus on pregnancy and postnatal exercise first. From there, it grew into just being basically a women's gym and specializing in mums as well, and just grew and grew and grew. We have a big creche area here, which is a big part of our business, which is something that's probably unique to a lot of businesses. Not many people run a creche area for good reasons. But no, it's awesome. As we have a creche area, we have a gym class as well. So all classes based on strength and cardio and everything in between that. And we really kind of focus on empowering women. So really making women feel strong and confident and, empowered themselves, no matter what shape, size, age they are. Just about welcoming everyone and having a really supportive, tight-knit community gym, which is what we do really, really well. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Yeah, in a nutshell, a very tight nutshell, actually. It gets to definitely be expanded upon. So what were you, I know we were in some Facebook conversations probably for a while before we started, actually. What was going on? Was there a point where you said, I'm not sure what I'm doing, or I need some advice or help? What was that moment?
I think it was really thinking about the business going forwards and feeling like we could never move forwards. We could never kind of hit any more goals or milestones, never get forwards financially. And it was always like, why? Like, we're growing so much in our membership base, but financials didn't add up to that. And it was me and my husband kind of doing it together at the time, mostly me. And the two of us couldn't kind of work it out. And he was sort of like remove the business a lot with his own job. So I needed someone else to come in and have a look at our books and give me some advice on just how to move forwards, what to focus on. I was a bit lost on direction to take, and it was always like, do more membership kind of, drives, get more members, but never equated to more money. So that was kind of the biggest thing for us, was like, when are we going to get ahead? How long do we do this for without kind of calling it quits? Because I loved it so much with my passion, but passion only goes so far when you have a family. So it was definitely that kind of moment in time when it was like, I need help to move this forward. We need to invest some money into someone helping us to see where we can go from here, what we can, do in our business, what we can do, thinking outside the box as well. So not just memberships all the time. Yeah.
Definitely something I like you guys to do is have a few more than just all eggs in one basket. Just in case, because you never know when a pandemic or something like that random is going to hit, or that you might need to move location, and as a result anyway it ends up getting more members as a side effect, doesn't it?
And you are like a new business person, you don't know these things, like you need someone else to help you, like you just don't have that experience of branching out and trying new avenues. Always like, it's what I want to do, I want to do memberships, this is what I'm good at, and you kind of stick in that lane until someone shows you something else. So it was good to have someone else's feedback and eyes on our business, not just me and my husband all the time.
Yeah, and Chelsea's got a lot of skill sets too, as you can hear when she's talking. So there was a lot of potentials. So had you done any other courses, or had you used anybody else, and why did you choose me?
No, not really. So you're kind of our first introduction to business coaching. I'd kind of looked at different people over the years and kind of gone, I'd like to work with them or with them, but I'd always I guess the money was the biggest thing. It was like, do we have this money to invest in this thing and then not know the outcome of it? You know, because it's never sure, I guess, or guaranteed what the outcome's going to be. And then what made me go with UK was basically that you reached out to me a couple of times. You know, it wasn't just like once, it was, you know, 2 or 3 times you kind of commented on something I posted in, you know, Facebook groups. You'd actually offered to give me free advice with no, I didn't feel obligated by you. Whereas some people will message you and there's always a bit of obligation to sell you something afterwards. Whereas with you, it felt like you generally wanted to help me, and that's, I've got a pretty good gut instinct, and that's what I kind of wanted to go with. And then from our first phone conversation or, you know, Zoom chat from there was like, no, you're the right person to help me. And yeah, I don't regret it for a second.
Thank you. Feel very humble. Actually, it's funny when you're training you guys, and also in other courses and stuff, there's people are often reluctant to message people, but honestly, personally, I will comment and message people just like you will, just like any good coach will, because we actually just like human beings. And then you contribute, and then if anything happens as a result, it's like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Go help the next person, because you would do your job in your career for free.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's so important not to be a number. So were you skeptical if you were looking around?
Yeah, I guess like I'm not a very skeptical person, to be honest with you, Kate. Like I'm pretty open and pretty positive and happy to try sort of anything. It's more when you're working with, especially I think like my husband and a male, they can be quite skeptical. So I think he had quite a few doubts, like, you know, you've been doing it for so long by yourself, just keep going by yourself, you're doing fine. Whereas I knew I wasn't. I knew I could be doing better than what I was with some help. I was more, it was, for me, it was definitely more like, I've got this money here. Do I invest it into a coach, or do I invest it into more equipment, or do I invest it into another course I could do, things like that? So for me, it was, I always knew I wanted to do something with this, you know, but I wasn't sure which avenue to take. And it is a big investment, you know what I mean, your business, especially when you are a new business, when you are a young family who doesn't have endless funds to throw at things. But I was also very educated, as I listen to a podcast all the time. I do a lot of research. I knew that anyone who's successful has coaches alongside them. So I was like, well, I need to be coachable too. So that's why I kind of wanted to go down that avenue. And yeah, it definitely worked out.
The irony, because that's what you do for a job as well, right? I always look at it as like, and even me in the fat loss and health and wellness days, you're shortcutting that person's journey. It's not that you can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a shortcut of, you know, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. And then now with the income that you've got now, of course you can turn around and invest it in more equipment and courses. That's also if God would make more time in the day. But anyway, that's another
like,
conversation.
why wouldn't you, when you are younger starting a business, why wouldn't you listen to people who've been there and done that and get their knowledge and advice? And, you know, even if you don't believe in all of it, even if you get 1 or 2 things out of it, then it's so worth it. You know, so worth it. So I think, yeah, anyone who's looking out for a business coach, like, you just need to give it a go, because it pays itself off, you know, 10 times.
Actually, you saw results pretty quickly. I'm trying to think back now. Yeah. And I think just the way people get results with their body, when you're on track with the right thing, not necessarily the right coach, but the right thing, because you're also different, with the right way to get a result, is you will see a result quickly. And there are often husbands next to or in the background, and, you know, I have one as well, and that's how they think. And so they should, because there's yin and yang. I had a husband ask once, well, how long before we should be able to see results? And I said,
Sean.
No, it wasn't your husband. This was years ago. This is why I actually am so used to the question. And so they should. And he said, well, how long before we can see results? And I said, well, usually this woman had 3 children under 5. I said, usually I would say 4 weeks. But honestly, in this case, let's touch wood that, you know, nothing happens with any of the kids. Let's say 6 weeks. But in her case, it was actually 2 weeks, because I think if we utilize your talent, your skill set, and that's different for everybody, you know, it's not necessarily tech, but it's different for everybody in terms of marketing and packaging yourself. So if you fast forward to today, or is there anything else that you want to share about your journey? Because then I want to fast forward to today and just tell people, like, here's some of the things that you've done and achieved.
Kate, it wasn't about just the business anymore. Like, I was kind of always like, I'm the business is me, we are one thing. Whereas when you came on board, it was like, no, you are a person, you need to brand yourself as well. And I'm also
one sec.
You're right.
It's gone, it's my internet connection. Sorry, 1 sec. Okay. the audio disappeared. So go for it again. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. I think the biggest thing changed me as well, Kate, was that I wasn't just my business anymore. Like I was always, before seeing you and working with you, it was always like, I am my movement is me. I'm this whole thing, we're together. Whereas once I started working with you, it was like, well, let's just build me as well as my own personal brand. And that was a big thing for me, because before speaking with you, it was always like, I kind of hid behind the business a little bit and I didn't really value myself and my own worth. I was like, yeah, it's a really cool thing that I'm doing for women, but that's just what the business does, not me personally. Whereas when I started working with you, it's like, now I'm doing seminars. Now I'm doing one-on-one health coaching. Now I'm actually going out there and basically telling people what I do and how good I am at it, which is not something I never did before meeting you, because I just wasn't confident to do it, or it was always about the business. My movement's this thing. It wasn't about me. So now I kind of have Chelsea Ryan, health coach, and my movement. And that's a really cool thing to have, Yeah. No more eggs in one basket. I have different baskets everywhere.
Yeah, we've diversified your funds. Well, because really they might come to, at the end of the day, they are still coming to see you, even though you've got all of the contractors and staff that you've got. Yeah. And now you've got that extra facet of, tell me more about that. So now you've got Chelsea Ryan, health coach.
Yeah, so essentially, it's still pretty small time at the moment. So I don't even advertise for it. It's internal. And I really do what I do, like usually about 6 weeks on, 4 weeks off, maybe just give myself a bit of a break too, because it is very emotionally draining, as you would know, being a coach. And I take a lot of people problems on myself personally. So it's very emotional draining time for me. But I love it. I really thoroughly enjoy working one-on-one with women again. So basically I do, 6 weeks on and usually 2 to 4 weeks off, and I book out every time. So I take on about 10 to 12 clients at a time, which is honestly my limit. That's what I will take on. And then, I just do that throughout the year. Do that now for the last year, like 6-7 months. And I've pretty much booked out, I have booked out every single round I do. And that's just with internal clients. So it's not even advertising publicly. It's literally just people already coming to me already that already trust me, that are happy to invest more into hearing what I say, which is, it's almost a real thing sometimes as well. Cause it's like, oh, wow, people want to listen to what I have to say. But it's really fun. And I really love that. It's an area of business I can see myself definitely expanding in the future. That's a big area, I think, which I need to go into more. And I would never have done that prior to kind of working with you. So, yeah.
Well, you can if you want to. You can if it feels good. You can do it.
Or like I did it, but I didn't get paid for it. You know what I mean? I'd always be talking to people and always messaging people as a coach. You get 100 messages a week about, nutrition or training or advice about certain things. And I would talk to them every day, but I never got paid for it. Now I'm getting paid to do what I love doing, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, it's exciting. So what do you see might happen in the future for now?
I think that being like a whole, almost like a separate business. So we kind of have my movement gyms, and then we have my movement like health coaching. And that's an online platform that can reach women from all over Australia to worldwide, and do what we do so well, which is basically relate to other women, especially mums, you know what I mean? Because it's a different market. We have different challenges. We have different, barriers to overcome than other people don't have children. And even to this extent of don't have different hormones, I think, once you've had children, different body shapes once you've had children, dealing with the mental changes and the challenges that come along with, having a baby is so huge, and you need someone that can relate to that. So I think that's the biggest thing, and finding the right coach, the right women to be able to do that and to be able to deliver that business and that service.
So very lucky. Coaches are very lucky to work with you and to learn from you. It's humbling, isn't it? Is that the word you were looking for?
Yeah.
That people come just to hear.
Yeah, it really is. It's still, people say to me all the time, well, you must be so proud of what you do. I'm like, well, I don't feel proud, because I feel like this is what I have to do. It sounds really corny, but so I feel like this is what I've been made to do. You know what I mean? So what I should be doing right now. And if I wasn't doing this, I don't know where I would be, because this is what I was made to do. And I've always known that, you know what I mean? I've always wanted to work with this demographic, and I've always wanted to do this thing in my life, but it just took a couple of scary steps to get there.
Yeah, actually, it did. And you know what? There's definitely not a straight line, is there?
No.
What would you say would be some of the key things that you've learned about the fact that it's not a straight line?
I think one of the things would be that even when you feel like you're failing in some way, whether it's financially, whether it's not getting enough memberships, or whether it's just, you feel like you can't keep on top of your life, something else is succeeding, and nothing can ever everything can't boom at once. So when we first started, we had a massive amount of memberships, but financials were going down. Now that we're more established, memberships are sort of just steadily increasing, but financially going up far more quickly. I think it's about just realizing that you can't, nothing can happen. It doesn't all happen at once. Like one thing will grow, one thing will kind of step back a little bit, then that will kind of overtake, and that other thing will kind of step back a little bit as you go along with your business, and as you kind of find what you really want to do with your business too. And that's a huge thing. Like, I was always like, oh, I'll have like 200 members here, 300 members here. I don't want that anymore. I want a smaller community type gym and have more of them, or expand in other areas that I can expand in. But I don't want to have this huge, big, gym anymore, so it changes as you go along in time and realize what you really want to get out of it as well.
Which is exciting when you think, well, you must have just been open, because you don't know that at the beginning. In fact, nobody does. No. But that's one of the experiences I like you guys to have. I got off a coaching call today and was just explaining at the start for her, it's about just trying some different things till you get one that you run with that just really allows you to be more you. And then you realize this is you.
Absolutely. And then from that, what's you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right. You learn to trust your gut a bit more, and you kind of just know what vibe you want in your business, and kind of, what you want to get out of it as well.
Yeah. So you must have grown a lot as a person as well.
100%. I would say I've grown more as a person than as a business.
Yeah. In relation to the person that's grown, in relation to the business that's grown, hence the business coach course, whatever, I always think that there's really no line. There's not really a difference between you and your business. How you feel is going to be showing in your business, vice versa. How's the business grown? How is it now 6 months down the track?
Yeah.
How's life?
Obviously, being closed for, all that time during COVID was a pretty big thing for us. But working with you especially gave me the ability to literally go from face-to-face classes only to online overnight. So we closed on a Monday midday. We were open 6 a.m. Tuesday morning online with Zoom classes. So there was no downtime. And I think what was quite good with our business is that we didn't give options. It was like, this is what we're doing. We're going online. We're halving membership price, which is a decision I chose to make for my business. But I retained all our members. Like, I think I literally lost 3 people over that whole time we were closed. Everyone else stayed with us and have come back stronger than ever. Once we reopened again, we had waitlists of people coming for trials. Like, literally, we had people waiting to get into a trial for the first 2 or 3 weeks, because we were just so overrun with people wanting to come and see us. So it was a really, it was a really cool experience to have, because it was always this uncertainty, what's going to happen when we reopen again? Will we have everyone come back again? How's people going financially? How are people going in terms of even belief of gyms? Like, are they doubting whether we're, safe enough and clean enough, that sort of stuff? But our experience personally was like, no, and we're still feeling the effects of that now. We are still busier than ever. We're still getting more trials than ever. And that's with, no paid ads, nothing like that. That's just been organic, marketing, word of mouth. So I went from, I think when we closed for COVID, I think we had about 130 members on our books, and we have now almost 160 direct debit members. Plus we have about another 20 to 30 extras, even more than that, actually, tell a lie, even more than that are kind of coming on 10 packs, or doing casual classes and things like that as well, and seeing us. So, that's a huge growth for gym our size. That's massive, in 3 months.
And that's just, it's faith, because you looked after yourself mentally, but also that's just the revenue from the physical 4 walls, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've also, what are the other projects that you've got now?
We've also obviously got the health coaching too, which really took off as well. So before COVID, we sort of started doing that, but it's really been the last, 4 to 5 months that's really kind of taken off. We started doing, we always do challenges at our gym, which most gyms will run challenges. We now offer a mentorship program with our coaches, where people pay to attend to this, once a week meetings. And they also want to do their own sort of coaching in terms of that as too. That makes an extra, $5,000 every round we do that. So little things like that, and they add up. We've got merchandise here now to sell. We've got a fridge stocked with Muscle Chef meals and drinks and things like that. So yeah, it's grown in a lot of ways. Like, our income is grown, quite a significant amount, just because of little things we've added along the way as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's because you're an amazing person. Are there any takeaways that you'd say that you've learned from the whole experience? I mean, I know you continue to learn, because that's the kind of person that you are.
Yeah.
But, anything else you want to share?
Probably just be open to everything. Like, don't just shut things down because you don't believe in them, or because they, you've had a bad experience in the past with them, or whatever it might be. Try to be open to things, give it a go, but also know that if it really doesn't feel right to you, be strong enough to say, no, that's not my business vibe. That's not what I want out of this business. And you're the right to say that as well. You know what I mean? So kind of be open to things, listen to things, but don't also go against your gut all the time as well. Like you kind of have that feeling whether it's right for you in your business. And the other thing would probably be, let me think, probably prioritize yourself as well and value and respect yourself apart from your business. So, you know, I was quite run down all the time, you know, and to a certain degree when you're a business owner, it's going to happen to you because, you know, you do have to invest a lot of time and energy into your business if you want it to be successful, but also know when it's time to take a break and to put limits on yourself, and to trust other people as well, like delegate jobs, things like that as well. That's a huge thing as a business owner as well. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's been amazing to work with you. The people that work with you now are so lucky to learn from you. I'm so excited for you for the future. Like you're really going to make an impact, and you don't even care what happens as far as a monetary transaction, but that's happening as well anyway.
Yeah.
It just happens to be a fabulous side effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions with regards to anything that Chelsea did or anything that we did together or anything that's potential for maybe you and your business, it's pretty easy usually from an outsider's perspective to see where there are leaks, and I can almost guarantee that you can see what a problem is, but it's not actually the problem. Like Chelsea thought it was just the creche, it was this, it was that. It wasn't even to do with that, and it didn't even matter. We went around the side of it and it's all kind of fixed itself, or you fixed it, but it wasn't a big deal.
No, I definitely need
very brave.
I need that help, that outside person to come in and look at it, and because you get so attached to what you're doing and your ideas, and it's like, you created this, you know what I mean? This can't be wrong because you created it and you've gone this way for so long now, but you need those external eyes to look at your business as an outsider and give you advice. It's so important.
Only if you want to do it in like 6 months instead of 6 years. But, you know, honestly, everyone's on their own journey, and some people are, but if you've got that nagging feeling of growth and there should be more, it's probably because it's like about to flower and you're holding it back yourself somehow, I think. I don't know. Chelsea does probably a lot of motivational speaking in her own studio now, so you can go and see her if you're in Sydney and go to one of her seminars, if there's any places available. She's been running those. Pardon?
You book out pretty quickly, yes.
Is that what you meant in regards to you've tried it before? A lot of you guys have tried one or two things before, but because we do it a slightly different way.
No, I hadn't tried seminars at all. But that was a really new thing to me. Like I'd done it in the past when I was a younger PT. I'd done a few different talks, different things, but never in this business. And it was something I didn't prioritize because it sort of scared me, number one, because it's outside my comfort zone. It probably was just fear holding me back from doing those sort of things. But now it's a really important part of my business and people look forward to them. Especially when you have a bit of a niche, like when you find something you're really good at. Mine's, women and mums, I can really kind of push that and do pregnancy and postnatal exercise seminars. I can do nutrition for pregnancy, mindset, things like that. It's a really good, to have a little bit of a niche as well. And, something you're really passionate about, that just comes across when you talk.
Yeah. And guys, it's always about the end user. The end user then therefore gets a better experience and a better result. And Chelsea's not the only one doing the talks. She's had to network and find other people that she aligns with that have come in and done this. So, the world's her oyster. I'm very excited for you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Chelsea. I'll put our details around this, and if anyone's got any questions, I'm sure they can ask us.
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome. I'll talk